people share the time they broke the universe with the 1 in a million chance outcome. Story 1. At my junior high school, the containers for recycling aluminum cans had a flap on top, so you could easily reach in and pull something out. One day, while waiting in line next to one, 8th grade me made the comment, "How cool would it be if I just reached in and pulled out a full soda?" And then I reached in, grabbed the first can I felt, and proceeded to pull out an unopened can of orange soda. The 2 people around me in line looked at me like I was a wizard. Want to know an excellent magic trick to blow people's minds at parties? Beverage sorcery spoilers ahead. If people are drinking cans of beer, or if you want to do this with a soda, you'll need to do the following. Take a full can of your carbonated drink of choice. Make a tiny hole in the top side cornerish area of the can, just a teensy pinhole. Pour some of the soda out of the can. Now crumple the can slightly so it looks like someone crushed it a bit after they threw it out. Take a lighter or a match and hold it up to the unopened tab of the soda can where the mouth would normally open. It'll turn black with soot. Wipe it away so that just the normally open mouth of the can is black. At this point, you'll have a can of soda that, at a quick glance, looks like an empty, crumpled soda can. Place it inconspicuously amongst actual empty cans. If you want, you can cover the tiny hole you made, but that's only important if you want to be doing the trick for a while after you plant it. In the middle of the party or when you run out of drinks, claim that everything is okay and that you have more drinks ready. Visibly reach into the garbage where you planted your can and remove your setup can. Holding the can so the top is towards you, put your finger over the hole and shake the can. The released CO2 will uncrumple the can, making it look like it is filling back up. Then turn the top of the can and move your hand over the top, secretly wiping away the black soot from the mouth, making it seem like you have just resealed the can. Then finally, pop the top of the can and pour out the liquid for everyone to see. I did this at a party when we ran out of beer once and people went insane. Wow, pretty fancy tricks here. I'll have to try these out one day at a party event. I love finding cool ways to entertain. Story 2. An unnamed man and I have ran into each other approximately 20 times in my life. I'm 23. I really don't know this guy, but I have ran into him at least 12 or so times I can specifically remember. And there's other times that I just can't pinpoint. The first time I remember seeing him again was at Disneyland when I was about 9. Since then, I have seen him in the most random places like Disneyland another time, Niagara Falls, a camping spot somewhere in Nevada when I was about 14, the LA County Zoo, and a racetrack in Colorado about 4 years ago. We both recognize each other, but never acknowledge. I will always remember seeing him in Colorado because we both gave each other a look of complete disbelief. I hope to one day see him again and see if he has taken note of all of our encounters like I have, and maybe get to know him. No homo, but with situations like these, it seems more than the appropriate thing to do. Edit. Aside from running into him at random stores, another one was at a movie theater in Vegas. Don't remember which one exactly, but it's literally on the inside of a casino. And who knows, maybe we'll never see each other again until our last day, making a moment of eye contact right before we collide head-on in a car crash. Epic! A friend of mine growing up had a similar situation. There was a kid that was at almost every vacation spot he went to. He told me about it when we were 15. We went camping with his parents and he pointed to the kid, who ran away in terror. We chased him down. Not in a bullying way, we were skinny nerds. And my friend finally caught up and started talking to him. We all socialized for a good 10 minutes before we decided their parents have to meet. This kid is a huge part of my friend's life story and no one believes him. We go to find the parents. Long story short, turns out my friend's parents were a swinger couple and they'd been meeting the same couple for years at vacation spots, but were secretive about their sexual exploits. And, for the kicker, the kid could have been my friend, half-brother. No paternity tests were ever given because neither couple cared who was the biological father. Me, a stress ball shaped like the earth. Best day ever. Story 3. I was picking up lunch for my office as opposed to looking for parking. I found a meter that was right in front. I never use meters if I can help it, mostly because I don't have any change. So I park and run inside, hoping this lunch pickup would take just a minute. This restaurant was notoriously speedy. Of course, they were running late this time. And of course, in the split second I turn my head, a bicycle cop finds my car and starts writing the ticket. I run outside and start weaving a tale about how I definitely put in money, and I'm so surprised it ran out so quick. And to please look the other way just this once. The cop looks at me and the conversation goes as follows. Him. Once I start writing, I have to give the ticket. Me. Come on, I definitely put in the money and it ran out so quick. Him. Well, did the meter fail? That's the only way I can tear up the ticket. Me. Yes, it failed. That's what happened, of course. Him. Prove it. Figuring I had nothing to lose, I said sure. I had to run inside the restaurant to get change because I had none in the first place. I get a dime and run out to the waiting cop and say, watch this. As soon as my dime goes into the meter, the screen flashes fail. There was absolutely nothing wrong with this meter before I put that dime in. I figured I lied so hard I changed the universe. The cop tore up the ticket. TLDR. I told a cop that a perfectly fine parking meter would fail, so he would tear up my ticket. When he asked me to prove it, I did, and the meter failed. Haha, you were certainly brave to actually go get the dime, hoping that somehow it would fail, right in front of the cop. Weird how it did. Story 4. I was ordering food at Sonic with my wife and a friend one time, and my bud, who was in the back seat, wanted me to order and pay for him. He gave me his debit card, and I asked if he wanted to punch his PIN number or if he wanted to do it. He said I could do it, so I asked his PIN. He told me to guess it. So, me, 8, 5, 4, 2, not really the number. Friend, what the frick? Are you fricking serious? Me, what? Friend, you just guessed my PIN number. What the hell, man? I really didn't believe him until it was time to pay and I typed in the numbers I had guessed. Surprise, surprise, they worked, and we all jizzed everywhere. If only they were lottery ticket numbers. TLDR. Guess the PIN number made everyone jizz, including my wife. Edit. Yeah, PIN is personal identification number, and yes, it has been pointed out that I don't need to say number. It's habit. Story 5. I was reading a Reddit thread about weird places in the world or something, and someone posted a link to a location on Google Maps using the latitude and longitude coordinates. Just out of some dumb curiosity, I replaced them with a bunch of random numbers just to see where in the world I would wind up, figuring I'd probably land in the ocean. It took me to a spot in my city less than 2 blocks away from where I was sitting. I went from flabbergasted to annoyed that no one else was there to witness it, because it was so astoundingly unlikely and weird. And there's no way I'll ever be able to prove that it happened. Story 6. When I was 16, I stole a knife from an Apache helicopter that landed at my school. Got caught. Knife returned to the school later in the day. Never got the chance to apologize to the pilots. It's the only time I ever stole something, and I've never stopped feeling bad about it. I would often wish I could find the pilots to apologize. 6 years ago, I was 32 at the time. I was interviewing for a new job. Got the job because one guy who I'd be working with took a liking to me and went to bat for me with my future boss. Ended up getting the job. 3 months later, I found out the guy who went to bat for me was one of the pilots I stole the knife from. He didn't know who I was, but I finally got the chance to apologize. When I apologized, he told me the other pilot that was on the Apache that day, 16 years previous, also worked for the same company now, so I got to apologize to him too. Sometimes real life doesn't seem like real life. You did a silly thing. We all do at some point. No use dwelling on that. Just move on. I'm sure the pilots easily forgot that one. Story 7. I'm in Canada. I was 15 years old and came home from school for Christmas break. My mother said, "You will never guess who we got a Christmas card from." I said, "That little motel we stayed in on our way to Detroit last summer." She just stared at me in disbelief. I was right, but I don't know why I thought of that. That wasn't a stare of disbelief. She was actually going to say it was from your real dad, but she changed her mind when she realized she could lie. Story 8. Was eating a bag of coconut M&Ms one evening on my couch with my wife sitting in a nearby chair. I reach into the bag and pull out 5 random M&Ms, and they were all brown. I show it to my wife. She disbelieves that I did that randomly. After munching those, I then take another handful and get 6 green ones this time. Decided that she wouldn't believe that any more than she did the first time. I keep it to myself. That's pretty cool. Sometimes weird things like this do happen. Not very often, but they do when we're least expecting them, like winning the lottery. Story 9. Sitting around with 3 other friends one night, one friend grabbed a deck of cards sitting on the coffee table. All 4 of us grabbed a card at random and without looking at it, put it face up on our foreheads so everyone could see each other's card except their own. Everyone bet $10 thinking it was likely they had the highest card after seeing everyone else's card but theirs. When we each looked at our own cards, we all had a 5. We never played again. Story 10. Early in our relationship, my husband and I took a walk on a clear, starry night. He put his arm around me, looked up at the stars, and said something like, "I love you so much. If I could, I'd make a shooting star just for you to wish on. Right there." And he pointed at the sky. Immediately afterwards, a shooting star appeared exactly where he pointed. No shit. I had to marry him because clearly he was some sort of wizard. Story 11. I went to a trade show and a lot of companies had bowls with drop your business card to win. At the end of the day, they gathered us all together to draw the prizes, and I won a laptop, an iPhone, a weekend in a resort, a year's subscription to MSDN, and a carton of wine. After the first 2 wins, people thought it was funny. Then there was playful teasing. But for the last couple, I just got booed, and people groaned a lot. A few people called out, "Rigged," etc. But as the announcer explained, it was multiple bowls from multiple companies, all brimming with business cards. Totally freaked me out. Felt like the Twilight Zone. One of those once-in-a-lifetime phenomena. Did someone close to you pass away before that happened? Maybe someone's watching over you, playing a nice prank. Story 12. In middle school, my best friend and I called each other every evening just to shoot the shit, talk girls, or update on our Max Payne and GTA playthroughs. Not one, but 2 different times, I picked up the phone to call him to hear no dial tone. Hello? It was my buddy who had called at the exact same time, and I had actually answered without the phone ever ringing. We never had any sort of plan or schedule, just whenever we were fine with dinner and homework or whatever. Story 13. When I was 8 or 9 years old, I was playing in my front yard. It was overcast and I felt raindrops hit my arm. So I held my hand out with my palm up towards the air, to catch a raindrop. Bird landed directly in my hand. I wasn't standing under any trees. Years later, as a teenager, I'm telling this story to my stepbrother, and we're outside playing basketball. As I'm telling the story to him, I show him the act of holding my arm out, palm up. Bird hit my hand again. In other news, my stepbrother thinks I'm the shittiest magician ever. So funny, there's a message in there for you somewhere, like the birds have a sense of humor too. Story 14. At a knowledge bowl competition, the rules are if you hit the buzzer, then they stop asking the question and you have to answer it. The buzzers are also very sensitive. The question comes the first 6 words, bzz. A guy on the other team had accidentally hit the buzzer. His eyes got really wide and he says, "Oh crap, it was the best of times." Bam, right answer. All 3 teams were stunned. True bromance that lasts till this day. Story 15. My dad works at the Federal Reserve in Washington, and it was Take Your Kid to Work Day. Before we actually got to see the cool shit in the Fed, believe me, there is some, we all had to sit in this really nice room and get some presentation on the economy and stuff. For some reason, they had someone talking about the environment and shit, and I was like 8 or 9. I didn't even care. She asked how many gallons of water are wasted from leaky sinks each year, and I randomly raised my hand and say, 52? She was all like, "Yeah, good job. A future environmentalist here." But I don't even know why I raised my hand. I hadn't listened to a single word she said. Story 16. Lost my ATM card, went to the bank to have it replaced. Told them what I wanted the PIN to be, and they told me that the PIN would be randomly assigned and mailed separately. And once I received both, I could then change the PIN to what I wanted it to be. The randomly assigned PIN was the one that I wanted. That's definitely one of those freaky things. I've had something similar happen with a password. Story 17. I drew 5 cards off the top of the deck. 2 of diamonds, 7 of clubs, 6 of hearts, J of hearts, 4 of spades. The odds of me drawing those exact cards are about 1 in 650,000. But I did it on my first try. Click on one of the videos on the screen now, or Karen will sue you.